Today I want to talk about 3 really good reasons to add pressing into your program, and then I want to talk about some of the pressing exercises that we use. Pressing is one of the 5 major movement patterns that we like to see in our training programs. Those movement patterns are quad dominant or squatting, hip dominant or hinging, upper body pulling, core, and finally upper body pressing. When we look at the upper body press, a lot of climbers have a hard time imagining why that could possibly be important. We can easily look at a pull-up or a row and go, oh yeah, that's like something that I do in climbing. But the press doesn't feel as important, and so it gets really downplayed in most climbers' training programs. The first reason that we like to put pressing into programs is injury reduction. Generally, the stronger the shoulder girdle is, the stronger the elbow is, the less injury we're going to see of a traumatic nature. And what that means is like going for a big move, catching it full extension. If there's a good amount of strength in that shoulder, there's a reduced chance that that athlete's going to get hurt. The other thing is reduction of chronic injury. And often we'll see bilateral pain where somebody hurts in both shoulders or both elbows. And that's generally not due to a traumatic issue. It's usually due to an overuse issue. And if we can prevent overuse injuries by strengthening the antagonists to our pulling muscles, it's an awesome way of spending our time rather than spending all of our time in rehab. The second reason we really like pressing is because it helps us avoid downregulation. And downregulation is basically the idea that a stronger antagonist allows the prime mover or the agonist to continue to develop in strength. If we create too big an imbalance between our pressing and pulling muscles, we tend to limit the amount of pulling we can do. And in fact, in the weightlifting world, when an athlete starts to plateau in the pressing exercises, like an overhead press or a bench press, often the prescription from coaches is to do more pulling to stabilize the other direction. Our problem tends to be the opposite, but I think that climbers can suffer from that downregulation if they don't have a strong shoulder girdle. The third reason that I love to have my climbers do some pressing exercises is because it makes you functionally stronger for your life. And being able to move around the crag, being able to carry a pack, being able to be a useful member of society is a really beneficial part of our overall training. And if I get to the point that I can do all of this very specific exercise, but I can't do a lot of other things, or I don't have a general foundation of strength, I'd become a liability to myself in that I can't do certain things I'd like to do. I may not be able to carry as much load to the crag as I would like. I won't have the work capacity I might like to have for establishing new routes or for cleaning boulders or what have you. And so general strength is generally very good for people. I'll underscore that with this. The ability to get stronger in our pressing takes very little time. And when we look at the overall time that we put into our bouldering and into our route climbing and into our other training, the amount that we need to do a sustainable level of strength development in the press is really quite negligible. I think if you can commit 2 days a week to pressing exercises, 3 or 4 sets each, somewhere around 5 reps, that's going to be plenty to help you develop some strength. And now it's really important. A lot of climbers will jump down from their last boulder of the day and decide to do a bunch of push-ups to build some strength in the chest. But if you're doing exercises where you can do lots and lots of reps, like dips or push-ups, they may not be giving you that strength stimulus that you're looking for. And so keeping that rep range real low, somewhere around the 5 rep range, is how we're going to optimally develop some strength there. Hey climbers, I want you to check out our app. We partnered with the Sequence team and we've now taken the Climb Strong training programs, put them onto an app-based platform that you can then customize and switch around to fit your particular circumstances. These are all programs designed by our Climb Strong coaches and they work. If you're interested in getting a little more help with these, you can also sign up for pay-as-you-go coaching, where you can sit down with our coach for any amount of time. They can help guide you on what you should be doing with your app program, and they can help you customize those things, again, to make things work even better for you. I'm super excited about this, and if you're interested in checking it out, just go to climbstrong.com and you'll find your way there. At the Climbstrong site, you can learn more about our coaching. You can also learn about other things. We write a ton of articles, we put a bunch of videos up, there's a bunch of stuff there. Finally, if you like the content on this channel, please subscribe and do like these videos and make sure you get notifications and all that good stuff. It really does help us. As far as exercises go, we know most of the pressing exercises already, or at least we're aware of them. The main horizontal pressing exercise people know is the push-up, and we can do those, and as long as we're in that 5 rep range and getting an overload from it, awesome chest strengthening exercise. But we need to increase the load on those almost immediately, because people get to where they can do quite a few of them. We can do that by changing the incline. We can do that by moving to a single arm push-up. We can do that by adding a weight vest. The other way that we can do horizontal pressing would be the bench press exercise. Bench press is a great exercise. It's totally not like climbing, and I understand that, but it's a really good way to develop some of this pressing strength in the front of the shoulder. And very simple to load up, very simple to understand. The range of motion is easy to understand. And again, we're looking for 3 or 4 sets of somewhere around 5 reps. Doesn't take very long to do that. Bench press is also really cool because you can micro adjust the loads on it. Most gyms will have 1 or 1.25 pound weights. And so I can make very, very small incremental changes in the loading there. So it's a nice exercise in that way. We also like overhead pressing. The overhead press is an excellent exercise. Most of us don't have the best overhead shoulder mobility. And so in general, I'll recommend single arm pressing instead of double arm pressing. And especially staying away from overhead barbell pressing. Unless it's something that's already in your wheelhouse, it's probably not something you're going to develop an ability for as an adult. I like the kettlebell because the shape of the kettlebell and the loading of it helps us to move that upper arm into a more upward position and back. With a dumbbell, I can tend to hold it out front, just the way that it balances in my hand. This helps with my overhead shoulder mobility. It helps keep us with that ability to reach high, reach straight above our heads. The 2-arm press is difficult because people just don't have the ability to do that. We've kind of lost that as our lats and our shoulders get a little tighter as adults. And so, like I said, unless you can do that well, it's probably not something that you want to add in. Other exercises that are fine would be things like incline presses, things like TRX work, things like dumbbell bench presses. There's a whole slew of excellent pressing exercises, but the most important thing is to pursue them conservatively, pursue them regularly. And like I said, a couple of days a week of pressing is going to result in a couple of really good outcomes for you. We love it for general strength. We love it so that we don't down-regulate the ability of our pulling muscles to get stronger. And we love it to prevent injury. And for the investment, it's really not too big a lift.